special edition, my first time, because it is what?
420.
420. So we are Zooming this for two specific reasons. A, to maintain the social distancing, but number two, for safety reasons, because we're both not going to be in any state to drive.
I agree with it.
All right, so Steve, what are we watching today for this special edition, 420 edition of My First Time?
Well, it's not exactly my first time, and it's not exactly your first time, but it might be the first time either of us have watched it while catching a really nice buzz as we watch Richard Linklater's Dazed and Confused.
Exactly. You're going to be buzzed, and I'm going to be lit, as the kids call it, right? So this is going to be my first time watching a movie while high, about a movie about being high.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get high. I'm going to take shots of tequila throughout the movie, starting with this one right here. I squeezed some lime juice into it, so it looks a little cloudy. Gonna enjoy Dazed and Confused with you, my friend. It's the first time we're purposely tying on a buzz, baby.
All right. Well, you drink up and I'll toke up, right? Is that what the kids call it, toking up? And we got to remember, I'm in California, so this is legal. Steve is way over the age of 21, while Buzz and Lit, dazed and confused.
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Welcome back to a very special 420 episode of My First Time, where we watched for our first time Dazed and Confused.
And that's how we watched it. My first time dazed.
All right.
My first time on 4 shots of tequila. I thought I was going to get more shots of tequila in my system. I've already got a headache. Calling it for the night. How do you feel, Sonny D?
Well, I decided, and I was texting you, I decided to play a game where every time a famous song came on,
Ooh.
I take a toke. It's a lot of songs.
How did that treat you?
One of the things I noticed, there's some scenes or interactions that I guess even when sober and just watching it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's why that's going to come back later. Like when Matthew McConaughey's character is talking about having a little cash in his pocket, whatever. That's the same kid uses that same story when he's in the liquor store buying liquor.
Right, when he pretends to be 18. Now, how many times would you say you've seen this movie total?
6, 7. I remember the first time I watched it was at my Uncle Bill and Aunt Cherry's house with their son Christopher, and he introduced it to me.
This is probably my 50th time watching this movie.
And you never get old of it?
No, man, I love it. I love it so much. I watched it a ton when I was just about to go into high school. This was actually the midnight movie at the Capital City Mall for one summer, at least for one summer. And I remember going to see this at midnight a lot when I was only 14 years old. You don't really need to be on anything, You're already living as free as possible. 14, mid-90s, 2 a.m. You're as free as you can be.
Well, I had a very conservative high school experience, so I didn't really relate to, because I went to a Christian school, and even Christian college, so a lot of this party things I didn't really get until, I guess, later in life. And when you were in high school, experience scenes like, oh, kind of like the movie, like it reminds you, oh yeah, the time in high school when I was like at a party or blah, blah.
Well, here's the thing. This movie drastically shaped my high school experience because this movie came out right before I went to high school.
Uh-huh.
And it was a huge hit with everybody that I went to high school with. So, I mean, this movie was it was always there. It was nonstop. Everybody was constantly quoting it in school all day, every day for 4 years. Got a little old, but fortunately, that didn't take away from the movie itself. But, classic rock had this huge resurgence among teenagers right after this movie came out. So essentially, Dazed and Confused kind of wrote the playbook for high school in the mid-90s, even though it's a movie about 1976.
Who do you think had the biggest career, Ben Affleck or Matthew McConaughey?
Oh, it's probably a tie, you know, if you were to really do the math on it. I mean, they both had huge career surges, and they both had romantic comedy hellholes, and then they both kind of made a pretty good comeback.
I disagree. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is a great movie, man.
It might be a great movie, but you can't disagree that Matthew McConaughey also went into a romantic comedy hellhole before then having the McConaissance with True Detective Season 1, Wolf of Wall Street.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, Dallas Buyers Club. That was a big part of the McConaissance. But, I mean, between Reign of Fire and Dallas Buyers Club, there were just all these rom-coms. And then, you know, Affleck, as much as I like the guy, still got Geely on their resume. We should all be so lucky. I would take a Geely paycheck right now.
Yeah, and you got to date Jennifer Lopez.
No complaints here. None. What should we do? Should we wrap this up? I got to start chugging water, man. I have a splitting headache already.
And on that note, this has been
my 420 time.
My first time on 420 watching the classic
Dazed and Confused.